Where is Danny? Where is Danny? It's time to read. It's time to read. Let's all watch together. Let's all watch together. What story will it be? What story will it be?
Hi everybody and welcome to Danny Duck's Book Club with me, Shannon, and Danny the Duck. Now you may have noticed that me and Danny are dressed rather festively today because we are ready for Christmas. Today is our Christmas Part 2 episode and we are all set up in our living room with our Christmas tree behind us. Danny's got his little Santa hat on, I've got my Christmas jumper and pudding hat on, and we are ready to go. Have you been wearing your Christmas jumper this week because it was Christmas Jumper Day? Let us know if you have been wearing your Christmas jumpers just like me and Danny. Now today we have something very special for you. We have 2 more Christmas stories. And today reading for us is Jonah Kensett and his mum Leanne. So they're each going to read a Christmas story for us and tell us a little bit about why Danny has asked them to read a story today. I hope you enjoy these stories lots. I know I enjoyed watching them. And I'm going to take you over to Jonah now for our first story.
Hello ducks, I'm really happy to be here today. My name's Jonah and I used to be a duck egger. Today I'm going to be reading for you Jingle Bells by Nick Butterworth, which is one of my favourite books from when I was little, mostly because little sound cues come with it. Wonderful, let's begin. Christmas time. A happy time, or so it should be. Why then, on this Christmas Eve, do 2 small mice look so unhappy? It's that cat, grumbled Lottie to her big brother Jack. He always spoils things. Ah yes, the cat. It should have been a wonderful time for the mice. Living in the cart shed on the farm, there were games to play and places to explore, and usually plenty to eat. There was one problem. That cat. The mice had been hiding food for their Christmas dinner, but the cat had discovered their hiding place. He didn't particularly like grapes or cheese or cake, but still, he had eaten every single bit and left the mice with nothing. That cat. Cheer up, said Jack. Look what I found. It was an old glove. Jack had begun to chew at it. We can't eat that, said Lottie. Jack went on chewing. Soon he had gnawed off 2 of the glove's fingers. There, he said, Christmas stockings. 1 each. We can hand them up for Father Christmas. Brilliant, said Lottie. I've never had a Christmas stocking. That night, the mice had snuggled down to sleep. They wondered what Father Christmas would bring them. Lottie had written their names on a note which he put next to their Christmas stockings so that Father Christmas would know who they were for. Soon Lottie began to snore, and Jack began to dream, and the air was filled with the sound of sleigh bells. Christmas morning. The day was fresh and bright. Jack and Lottie hurried excitedly to look at their Christmas stockings. But they were empty. Nothing, said Jack sadly. Not even a nut. Lottie picked up the note which she had written the night before. Look at this, she said. Underneath their names, someone had written, Not here, gone away for Christmas. I know who wrote that, said Jack. They both knew. It's time we taught that cat a lesson, said Lottie. But what can we do, said Jack. He's so big and strong. Well, said Lottie, I think we should go and talk to Chee. Chee was a rat. Actually, his real name was Gavin, but he liked to be called Chee. He wore glasses which had no glass in them, and he wore clothes which he had borrowed from a doll's house in the farm attic. He also borrowed the furniture from the doll's house in the attic, which made the place a little more homely. Lottie and Jack made their way through the snow towards the barn where Chee lived. Suddenly, Jack spotted something. It was a shiny golden bell. "It's a bell," said Jack. "A sleigh bell," said Lottie. "It must have fallen off Father Christmas's sleigh." "That's lovely. We'll take it with us and we'll show Chee." When the mice had reached the barn, they were quite out of breath. But there was a difficult climb to make. At last, puffing and panting, they made their way to a little door at the top of the barn. Before Jack could knock, the door opened. "Good morning and a Merry Christmas to you," said the rat. The mice smiled and replied nervously then they stopped inside. Chee shut the door. It's hard to say exactly what the mice and the rat said to each other, but whatever it was, the door opened again and they were smiling. "Thank you so much," said Lottie and Jack together. Chee smiled. "The pleasure was all mine," he said. "Cats must be such a terrible nuisance." Later, after Christmas dinner and some borrowed fruitcake with Chee, the mice could be seen wrapping up a parcel. Later still, they tried not to be seen as they curiously carried the parcel towards the farmhouse. Boxing Day. Mrs. Mackey, the farmer's wife, swung her feet out of bed into her slippers. At the foot of the stairs, the cat brushed against her legs. "Hello, Angus," she said. "What's this?" She picked up a small parcel that lay on the mat and read the label. "This is an extra present for you, Angus," she said to the cat. Angus watched as Mrs. Markle opened the parcel. What could it be? "It's a little bell," said Mrs. Mackey, "on a pretty red ribbon." Before he could escape, Mrs. Mackey took a firm hold of Angus and tied the ribbon around his neck. The little bell jingled under his chin. "There," she said, "you look lovely." Angus twisted his neck uncomfortably and the bell jingled again. He pulled his face and pawed at the bell. "Oh, don't you dare," Mrs. Mackey said. Keep it on." It was about tea time in the afternoon. Lottie and Jack were having great fun in the snow, and suddenly they stopped and listened. They could hear a jingling of a bell. "Quick, someone's coming," whispered Lottie. The mice ran and hid in the cart shed. As they peered out, they saw a very cross-looking Angus go past. He looked from side to side and shook his head, and the little bell jingled merrily. Grunted Angus, and he stomped off, jingling as he went. The mice burst into fits of giggles, and Lottie began to sing, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Now Angus can't sneak on us and we go out to play." They laughed and laughed. "It may not have been a very Merry Christmas," said Jack, "but it looks like it's going to be a Happy New Year." Well, thank you. I hope you really enjoyed this story. And back to you, Danny.
What a fantastic story. Thank you so much, Jonah, for sending that in. We absolutely loved it, and I'm sure that everybody at home loved it too. I particularly enjoyed your fantastic singing. Now we're going to head over to Jonah's mum, Leanne, who's going to read us another story. So we're very lucky today to have 2 Christmas stories coming your way. So I'm going to pass you over to Leanne now. Enjoy the story, everybody.
Hello, I'm Leanne. I'm Jonah's mum. I've been part of the duck family about 10 years, and I'm going to read you a story that Jonah and his brother and sister used to really enjoy. Crispin, the Pig Who Had It All, by Dewan. Crispin Tamworth was a pig who had it all, and at Christmas he got even more. One Christmas, he got the Zybox Teddy Bot, but by Easter he was bored with it, and then it got broken. The next Christmas, he got the speed pony shock jockey. But by Valentine's Day, he was bored with it. And it got broken. Last Christmas, he got a Giga pig station and all the latest computer games. But by New Year's Day, he was already bored with it. And as usual, it got broken. This Christmas, when he woke up early to peek at his toys, Crispin found an enormous box. On it, it had the label, Master Crispin. In this box, you will find the only thing you do not have. It's the very best thing in the whole wide world. Oh boy, squeaked Crispin. He pulled the ribbon, lifted the top of the box and peeped inside. But the box was empty. There was nothing inside at all. Crispin sat by the Christmas tree and cried. "What's the matter, Crispin dear?" cooed Mrs. Tamworth. "Santa gave me nothing for Christmas," snuffled Crispin. "Weren't you a good pig this year?" grunted Mr. Tamworth. "Oh, it must have been a mistake," said Mrs. Peck, the housekeeper. "I'm sure Santa didn't mean to upset you." But Crispin was very sad. He shoved the box out of the front door. Then he went to his room and stayed there all Christmas morning. He didn't even come down for his Christmas dinner. Crispin sat by his window and watched. And a rabbit and a raccoon walked into his front yard. "What a great box," said the rabbit. "Come on, let's take it," said the raccoon. But Crispin didn't want anyone else to take his box. So there he went and sat inside it, look. "This is no fun," he said. Soon Crispin was so cold, he went back inside. The next day, Nick and Penny crept back into Crispin's box. "Hey, that's mine," Crispin oinked. "Get out." "We're not wrecking anything," said Penny. "We're playing Space Base." "I don't see any space base," grunted Crispin. "Look out, Penny," screamed Nick. "Alien!" "I'm not an alien. You're the alien," said Crispin. "This is my property. Now you get out." "Zap!" shouted Nick. "Gotcha, alien!" "Ha! Missed me by a mile," squealed Crispin. And so they all played Space Base until sunset. On Saturday, Mr. Tamworth gave Crispin his pocket money. "Aren't you going to the arcade today?" said Mr. Tamworth. "No, not today," said Crispin. "Nick and Penny might come by." Nick and Penny did come by, and they all played Store, Pirates, Castle, and of course their favourite, Space Base. They played so long that Crispin was late for supper. That night, the weather changed. It rained and rained, and all the snow melted. So did Crispin's box. "My box is ruined," Crispin sobbed. "Now my friends won't come over anymore." But of course his friends did come over. "Look at all this stuff," shouted Nick. "Ugh, it's all broken," said Crispin. "It's junk." But his friends didn't think so. And the speed pony shock jockey and the Giga station, and they all helped gather the broken Zybox teddy bot, and they all had a hopping good game of Space Base. They played until way after supper time and almost missed dessert. On Friday after school, Crispin brought his friends back to play. "Hi kids," said Mrs. Peck. "Come in and see our brand new fridge. It's just arrived and it makes ice cream." "Oh, Crispin," said Mrs. Peck, "the fridge delivery man took away all that junk in your room, so now it's nice and tidy." Junk? Shouted Crispin. That wasn't junk. It was a store and a pirate ship and a castle and a space base. And you threw it all away. All my friends will go away. There's nothing here to play with. Crispin wept. But right there, in his own back garden, was the great big box. And Crispin went and peeped inside the empty box and saw that it was full.
And another fantastic story there. So thank you very much for reading that for us, Leanne. We loved it. So it was wonderful to hear what Jonah and Leanne's favourite Christmas stories were, and we'd love to know what your favourite Christmas stories are. So if you have a favourite story that we haven't read yet, don't forget to pop us an email letting us know. Maybe we could talk a little bit about them in the new year for the next episode of Danny Duck's Book Club. This is our last episode before Christmas today, and we will be back in January for a new episode with new guest readers and lots more exciting things to come. Thank you for all of your support over the last few months while we have got Danny Duck's Book Club up and running and brought you stories as often as we possibly can. It's been really, really fun doing this for you guys, and we hope you have the absolute best Christmas ever. We're excited to bring you some new stories in the new year. If you have any ideas of what stories you'd like to hear, or if you would like to read a story for us yourself, if you know anybody you think would like to read one, get in touch and we would always be happy to hear from you. Have a fantastic Christmas and a happy new year from me and Danny. Bye everybody! Goodbye, goodbye everyone. I sure hope that you had fun. We'll be back another day to laugh and dance and sing and play. Goodbye, goodbye everyone. I sure hope that you had fun.
Ho, 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 ho!